Welcome back to Dialog Choices Podcast, and me and your host, and Andrew Wilson.
Wait a second.
What is this? A true crime podcast all of a sudden?
There was that gave me a lot of that unlocked a core memory. There was a there's a time that I was at the local community college, and I basically just graduated high school, and my high school computer teacher was at that college because she had a what do they call it, like it's like school, like business enterprise or something like that. Something weird, like you make a fake company at your school and then run that fake company and then
into the ground.
That sounds like fraud. That's what it's called.
It's weird. It's like basically you get it's heavier. It's like those virtual stock markets, those fake stock markets.
Is it a real fake company or a fake real company?
I don't
know what the difference.
No,
is.
It's a fake it's a fake company. So you don't play with real money at all. Like there's no real money involved. But you pretend it's a company, right? You have a CEO, you have like managers, you have employees. There is like a goal, like the company, like our company was called Yellow Bus Entertainment.
It's how we teach children the fantasy of capitalism.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I thought the worst thing about high school in the US is the shootings. You get fed capitalism. Holy crap!
Yeah. Anyways, so we had this it's virtual. That's what it's called. Virtual Enterprise. That was the name of the class. Virtual Enterprise. And so my virtual enterprise teacher was at this community college, and I was sitting there eating food, just living my life. And she saw me, ran up to me and said, "We are doing a conference with everyone at the virtual enterprise, like all the different schools in the county were at the college to do a meeting, like a board meeting or something.
Team day."
And she was like, "Could you come and give a presentation about your experience of virtual enterprise in front of all these people you've never met before right now without any time to come up with a script or anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's fine." And so just standing up there. No, it was even worse. I had sat there waiting because like two other people were talking before me, and I was like, okay, this shouldn't be too difficult. The fucking asshole that went before me said everything I thought in my head verbatim. Like he literally telepathically stole what I was going to say. And I was like, shit, he just said everything I was going to say. And so then, just on the microphone, I was like, I think there's a previous virtual reality student, Andrew Wilson. And so I just had to stand up there and give like a shitty presentation of my time in virtual enterprise being, I think I was like the CTO of the company. And I made the website in Macromedia Flash.
Oh no. That is well, I suppose that's not the worst part of the class.
No, but I mean, Newgrounds was popular back then, so that was kind of
we knew already.
Yeah.
Over here in Europe, we knew that Flash was on the way out. Y'all Americans just hanging on. Young kids these days don't even know what Flash is.
Like most of Europeans rely on whatever nonsense bullshit America pumps out in its daily Silicon Valley hell. Like they don't know anything. They just wake up and they're like, "Oh no, AI's here. Where did this come from? The Americans?" Like it's like every time.
I'm just saying, I think 2 years older than you, Andrew. And in high school, I learned how to make websites using Adobe Dreamweaver, which is it's basically,
How is that any different? That's still a Adobe product.
It's HTML. Because it's HTML rather than Flash.
Sure, I guess. I guess. But it was better that you used Front Page 2.0 rather than
Front Page. Oh no. Yeah.
But be
worse.
But yeah, don't do that. If you ever see a stranger or like a student eating food at a college, don't just approach them and have them do impromptu speeches. That's terrifying. What a nightmare to
the students and everybody who listens to the speeches.
That's true.
Yeah.
My speech was very generic and probably contributed to no beneficial gain for the virtual enterprise curriculum, I guess. I don't know what the fuck they were doing there.
That sounds really weird. How do you even get rated in a class like that? That feels...
I mean, it's the same way you get rated when you work at a job. I don't know if Europeans do this, but when you do
we don't work at jobs here in Europe.
Oh yeah, you guys don't. You work at jobs. Forgot about that. The GDPR or whatever.
Yeah.
The what's it called? We get like the performance reviews is essentially how you get graded. So your teacher is like, I guess your shareholders or your teacher's like your shareholders, and then the CEO is the person that is rating, or is like, how would you describe this? So like your CEO rates the manager's performance, the manager rates the employee's performance, and then all of those go to the teacher, who then is watching the class the whole time and then kind of bases it off of their own views and like what they've been seeing, and then combines it into a total grade. So
okay, so it's a little bit subjective, but still, like, there's at least
kinda. There's a way to prevent, like, the teacher can obviously prevent any kind of shittiness where you're like, I'm giving that guy a 0. The teacher would be like, okay, well, that's not, like, I could see that they're doing their job in class. There's no reason for them to get this. You're just being an asshole. There's a prevention for that. But at the end of the day, it was really just, I don't think anybody really failed the class unless they weren't genuinely contributing to the class.
It's kind of funny because in this class about teaching kids about capitalism, they still have more safeguards than actual capitalism. Because even in real life, if somebody wants to be shitty to you and say, no, you're fired, starve, they do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is still a school, and schools do have a lot more structure than an average business does. But yeah, it's very... it is very funny that is just a class I could take.
I had no idea that existed. Did you have this class, Keith?
No.
Oh.
He made it up.
You were... fake.
This was all a bit to fool non-Americans.
That was the European test, and you passed.
Or failed? It's a positive test, at least, in that you're European.
I'm not. Is it actually? I'm not sure.
It's real. It is real. It's a genuine thing. Okay. I can't tell you.
I thought you were actually.
No, I couldn't tell you how prevalent it is. Like, it could be a thing that only existed in like the. Well, sorry, I'm old, everybody. In like the early 2000s.
It just sounds like one of those like strange classes that if you're being raised to go to college, you don't take, like home ec.
Yes, yeah,
like, hey, I need
pretty
to finish.
much.
It's like, no, I need to fill my schedule with like calculus.
Yeah, you need like AP classes. You need to be doing like actual like contributing things to society, not
whereas
like pretending to be a business.
Yeah, like if you're not this sounds so condescending, but if you're not like an AP student or an honor student or whatever in high school, there's kind of a part, especially in the later half of high school, where you kind of do like LARPing classes. They're kind of like
oh, that's why you guys get all
they're
those,
kind of like advanced
school
role-playing classes where you're like playing out scenarios or like doing a collaborative like performance art together, and the grades are extremely soft and you just kind of like, you know what I mean, right? Like this, I don't know how to put it, but it's hard, especially when you can't say it without being like mean. But like that's a thing that high school does. It just kind of it has schedule fillers that they just like. Well, you have to be here, but you're not gonna be doing any of these things. So,
look, I knew a lot of kids who took JROTC, so like I don't know exactly what you mean.
I mean, that's just actually LARPing. Yeah, that's just actually JROTC is creepy. I don't like that being in school.
Can you fill me in?
So weird.
It's the military class.
Yeah,
of course.
You like wear uniforms
class.
and march together, and you like spin bayonets and things, and it's unnerving.
Yeah,
you
do like.
It had a very strong presence because we were next to a military base, so we had military base kids because they didn't have their own high school.
Yeah, JROTC is called the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. It is a federal program sponsored by the armed forces. That basically is just like a fast track to get kids into the military.
Like for reference, like I was taking German in high school, and German was so small that the 3rd and 4th classes had to share a class with each other at the same time.
Yeah, that happened with computers too.
Yeah, that happened with Cisco. That happened with a few different things. There were several classrooms of JROTC.
Yes, there was like two separate.
There was so much military participation on this in this school.
Yeah, I actually think I think it's about like 45 to 50% of my graduating class went to the Air Force.
What? Specifically Air Force. Is it like the school that you were in?
The Air Force base is the one that was right next door. So that most of them were had parents in the Air Force. So they a lot of military kids tend to do like a I don't know, a generational thing. Like my dad was in the Navy and I'm in the Navy and my son will be in the Navy. Like it's a weird cult thing.
I never thought about that. I never considered the idea that the Air Force base would only be for the Air Force.
What? You think they have like little rooms to the side where the army goes in?
In my brain, it's just like, this is just where the military families live.
The Navy just parks a boat outside of Travis. Like, what the fuck? There's no docks here? Where's all your boats? Like,
it's strange because the Air Force base has like businesses and stuff. Like I would go bowling there. So it's just
the Air Force base,
it's sprawling and strange enough that I just figured that I figured that it's not like specifically for the Air Force. Like the military part is, but like the inside of the walls part, I figured was just like one of the places military families live. It's just Air Force bases. Because they have schools and stuff. Do they have separate schools and encampments for like Marines bases? I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, they do.
Do they really? If your parents are Marines, you go to a different school.
No. Okay, so if your parents are Marines, they wouldn't be stationed at Travis Air Force Base. They'd be stationed at a Marine base. There are different bases for different branches of the military. Yeah, they'd be at a Navy base or a Marine base or an Army base or a Space Force base or an Air Force base or I don't know. We'll find more bases to make, but so it just depends. Because I had a buddy who was not Air Force. He was Army, and so he couldn't get stationed in Travis because obviously that's for the Air Force. But but in a weird way, like I think once he retired and he joined the National Guard, then he could get stationed by Travis or at Travis. It was like something weird like that. I don't know. Travis is weird. It's like and I think they let you in there if you are any military branch. So if you are like a Marine, you can get onto Travis, but I don't think you can live there. I think only Air Force can live on Air Force bases. But I mean, I take that with a grain of salt because I am not a military kid. I just know a lot of them because of proximity. But yeah, but I knew a lot of people in JRTC, and I knew a lot of people who just took that as the college recruitment kind of thing, where they just like, well, that's what I'm doing. I did JRTC for 4 years. I guess I'm going to join the Air Force. And it's like, all right, well, I guess that works. But yeah, I don't know.
That's really weird. I mean, I know about the Army and obviously the U.S. Army specifically, or the Army.
You better know about our Army. Shit, we pay a lot.
I know about
money for you to know about our Army.
All the money they spend to recruit, even not just with ads and partnerships, even video game companies and stuff,
and video games and movies. And we have military bases in every European country. And go on.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to actually keep going.
No. I mean, there is probably an infinite list of ways you would not be able to actually not know what the U.S. military is. But
no. I'm saying I know that they spend a lot of money in recruitment because obviously it's a youth machine, and there's no forced conscription, so they have to do it other ways.
Yet.
At least that's part of the reason why they spend so much money in recruitment, because obviously there's cultural, societal reasons as well. But I am surprised that you have actually an Army class in school. That is wild. The closest thing we have here in Portugal, or had anyway, I graduated from high school at in 2004. Yeah. So this is outdated information. But back then, the only thing we had is every single 18-year-old had to, based on where they lived. So basically, every single 18-year-old in this one parish or whatever would be told, hey, in this day, you're going to go in a bus to this army base, and we're going to show you around and show you what they do there. And it's called the Day of National Defense because, they can't call it the Day of War. And because they also don't call it the War Department anymore, they call it the Defense Department. But still, the Day of National Defense is where every kid. It's not the same for every kid, but it's the day for the kids in a particular parish. They go to an army base and they're shown around. They get to see, their equipment. They get to see their installations. Talk to sergeants and see the drills, all that sort of stuff. And that's a single day that everybody is forced to required under the penalty of paying a fine. You're required to do.
Wait, what?
That's the only thing.
You have to do it?
Yeah. If you don't do it, you pay a fine. And like for example, I had an exam for school.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
It's compulsory. On the day I was supposed to go, I had an exam for school and I couldn't, so I just didn't show up. And then you have to, like, within a month or something, you have to let them know, hey, I didn't show up because of this. So I had to have like a paper and stuff.
Wait, they don't even keep track of you? You have to like tell them that you didn't
do it? They knew I didn't show up. I just, I need to justify my absence after. So they said, hey, you're going with these people from elsewhere. And I, just showed up in another place and did my whole thing at the age of 18.
That's wild.
It's not as wild as having an army class. Come on.
Is it not?
Definitely not as wild.
I mean, it's not mandated. It's not a mandated army class. No one did it. Like, no one had to take it. They could have just ignored
you
the
and
whole
your
thing.
Freedom, Americans.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm concerned about. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I always think like compulsory service countries are terrifying. Like, I get the point because you don't have the like American capital to nuke all of your enemies into existence, but it's still weird that you just, I don't know, you reach a certain age and someone's like, welcome to the military, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is my life now. All right, cool. I hope we don't go into any wars.
That's awful.
Like, maybe it makes you a little bit more caring about your politics, because then you're like, okay, well, I have to go serve the military, so I better not put a person in office that's war hungry, because I don't want to fight in a war. Like,
that's definitely part of the equation in countries like Russia and stuff, where
in Russia has Russia actually had an election in the past like 20 years?
No, in the sense of the political landscape. Well, I'm saying in Russia because I remember reading justifications for why internally they didn't call the invasion of Ukraine an invasion or a war. It's because they actually didn't want to spook the conscripts, or as much as they did anyway. But because you're forced to go to the army. So if you're in war, it's like, no, it's a special operation. It's a cool thing, and then they're less scared of dying
until they realize that, like, wait a second, don't you guys lie all the time? Yeah, but
no, they don't know this time.
How do you not know that?
I mean, look, because you're Russian, and you're like, there's the whole apparatus around the army, and it's
Russia has to have better education than America does. It's crazy.
I'm not talking from personal experience, but living in a country, you yourself should know this, but living in a country with heavy forms of propaganda, internal propaganda, does blind you, or can blind you. You've met plenty of people like this, Andrew. You know what I'm talking about. It blinds you to
sure.
Yeah.
But I also live, like, I don't know, I have pretty easy access to validate information, I guess. I can tell that, America lies. It's not like it's a secret. I can see, I could just Google it. I could be like, man, did we have justification for doing this? And then everything on the internet, the History Channel, everywhere around me is like, no, we didn't. Oh, okay.
Don't say that during the army class. They'll give you a C.
A C? Shit. Oh man.
I don't know how you rate things.
I should have done better on my baton tossing, so I could have made up for that C I got.
Are you saying that the U.S. shouldn't have killed hundreds of thousands of
when
citizens?
What time?
Japanese
We've
citizens.
done it a lot of times. When? Yeah, what country? You have to be specific.
No. I'm saying at the end of World War II. Just saying.
At the end of World War II.
My joke didn't come out because this is not edited. This is live and it's complicated.
I was gonna say I don't think there's any war that we didn't end it with a bomb of some kind.
End it with a bomb?
Yeah.
No, there's wars that whimper out. You have the Korea War whimpered out.
It whimpered out. We had it was just mostly a ceasefire agreement. The war's still on.
Yeah,
the war never ended.
The war never ended. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying it whimpered out 2 years after basically every meaningful movement ended.
It's on hold. Someone called pause, and we're waiting until someone else calls unpause, and then we'll drop the bomb.
No, it's too real.
You have to wait.
Yeah, that's actually too real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. America, we always end it with a bang. America doesn't go out whimpering.
That's not true. Look at the Afghan war.
What? Yeah, all the craters? How many bombs do you think that they endured during the Afghan war?
Well, that was during the war. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not saying that. You know what I mean.
I don't think we left without dropping a bomb or two. I think we were like, ha, boop.
You don't remember when you left? It was like 4 years ago.
I mean, it wasn't really a good leave. We kind of just packed our shit up, broke everything on the way out, and left. Yeah, but we also, before we did that, though, we also did, I think, we bombed a couple of places. We also, I think, assassinated some people with drones, and then we left. So we still got our bombs in before we left. We didn't leave just quietly and peacefully. How dare you assume we would?
You couldn't.
We never will, never can, never should. It's the American way. It's tradition.
America, fuck yeah.
Exactly.
Is that from the Barbie movie? Or is that from the...
The Barbie movie? What? No. What?
No, not Barbie. The one
where I need to rewatch the Barbie movie.
The one where they say 9/11 times 100. And the other dude goes, yes, that's 91,000 something or 100. Yeah,
that was the Barbie movie.
It was Barbie movie. I was right then. Oh my god! Yeah, how dare you mock me in my Portuguese ways?
From the Barbie movie. I'm scared.
I was right though.
No.
Kind of.
No.
I just
no.
So
it's just one of them was doing a satire of post 9/11 patriotism and relatively hot on the iron 2 years after the war started, and the other one came out last year it was
last year,
but a completely different topic over 20 years later.
And tone.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's just nobody's ready for that culture, surprise.
It's culture. What is that? Sounds like communism.
It could be.
Jesus Christ.
I think Karl Marx would have been a really good comedian.
Karl Marx?
It wasn't. No, he wouldn't have.
Where have we gone?
Why do you say that?
Because
how did you say that?
Have you read his stuff? He's dry as a...
Yeah, he was funny as hell. I don't know, man. His descriptive language is really good. I think he would have been a really great comedian. The way he talks about describing non-physical systems is really fun. He seems to have a really good hang on how to describe.
You know how 19th century people were. They didn't know about atoms.
Okay, that doesn't mean they couldn't be funny.
No, I'm saying they had to come up with all these new ways of describing things that can't be seen.
Yeah. So I think he would have been a great comedian. He would have been able to unlock some really good descriptive tones for things we would have not thought about in that way. Oh my God, what the hell? But
he should write a Barbie movie.
I don't even know if he would have liked the Barbie movie. I think there's like a lot of things about the Barbie movie that would have been kind of mortifying for him to even comprehend.
Yeah.
It's like it's a children's toy owned by a monolithic, almost kind of monopoly company. But the movie itself is about like none of that, really. It's great. What a great horror would have been. It
would never be about that though, because it's like the Transformers movie isn't about Hasbro being pieces of shit, right?
Well, sure, but I mean, like, it's normally so the Transformers, I think, is different because Transformers are the toy for Transformers are based on a story being told, whereas Barbie is a toy that has a story being told about it. Like, Barbie isn't a thing. Barbie's just an object that they sold to children.
It's a social construct, and it comes around 360.
Well, no. Barbie was made without a story. Transformers were made because of a story. Yeah, like they're toys because they're a part of a different story, and they're selling toys from it. But Barbie is just a toy that they had to sell a story from in order to make it long term.
I'm not sure if that's true, actually. I think
Barbie has no story. Barbie's not a toy that came out because there was a Barbie story. No. Look at what I'm trying to say. Transformers was a cartoon made in Japan well before toys were invented for it. It was just a mecha anime. Barbie was made as a toy.
I see what you mean.
So I'm saying it's a movie about a product, which doesn't sound like something that Karl Marx would like at all. He sounds very much like something he would hate. So it's it's literally just a movie about a product. But Transformers is different. Transformers, I think he might actually like, because I think Optimus Prime is kind of a little bit anti-capitalist, honestly.
Optimus Prime is
I mean, he is. He very much is like about what's it called? He's much more in tune to the idea of like equality and no one having the advantage in any way, and that everything is about like all life deserves to live and things like that. That's like way more closer to Marx than it is to, I don't know, capitalism. Capitalism doesn't have that mantra. But anyways, the point being is that I think we really are missing out on some really good comedic bars from Marx. I hope there's an alternative reality where everyone listened to him about communism, and then he just had free time to be a comedian.
I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know what to say about anything.
Anyways,
Karl Marx would have loved Transformers.
No, I think he would have liked Optimus Prime, but I don't know if he would have liked Transformers. I think it became too commercialized.
That's what came out of you, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The toy commercial cartoon? That's literally always what it was. That was its whole purpose. Like day one. It's like the example people use of that kind of thing.
Andrew was talking about
literally archetypical.
Well, sure, but I'm saying that like the idea is that like a TV show, I don't know how to describe it. Just it's better to have something and then make something from it than to make something and then make something from it. I don't know how to describe it. I can't. I mean, at the end of the day, both the anime and whatever you call it, and a product are both, and a toy are both products. They both exist to make capital for somebody. So yes, at the end of the day, like at its core value, I guess Marx would be like, fuck all this. This is garbage. All you're doing is trying to kill children with capitalism. And yeah, but I think
but he had no idea about the home ec school or classes in American high
I
school.
definitely don't think he would have liked those. I think he would have been very against virtual enterprise. I think he would have been like the only kind of enterprise that should exist is the one in the grave. Like it seems like not very keen on that kind of idea. But the yeah. Anyways, is there any good controversies going on in gaming? Those are always my favorite topics.
No, gaming has been very quiet for the last 5 decades.
That's impossible. It's never happened.
Oh, gaming's on its best behavior. That's good to hear.
That's
I didn't know gamers
literally impossible. Being racist again.
We have an update from the last podcast that actually got resolved. Like the day we recorded the podcast.
I forgot about that. I don't like that episode. Yeah. I don't want to go back to it. No.
No, we don't. We can just leave that as an update that Sony retracted, at least partially retracted the requirement for the PSN network account.
They did. They
got retracted before the episode even came out.
Yeah.
Did they delay it? I thought they were getting rid of it.
No, they got rid of the requirement, but it's still
I thought they said
the game's still not
were just not
on certain regions.
Oh, the language made it seem like they said they were not going to go through with it at this time. It made it sound like to me that they were just they're gonna quietly not do this for right now, and they'll come back to it later.
Wait, did they remove the language? Did they remove the game from sale from all the regions that you couldn't make an account in, then remove the requirement for the account, and then leave that restriction up?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
wait,
all right. So we're gonna have to have discourse. I think that's the right choice. I think Sony should absolutely ban those countries from owning the game, and
Why?
As long as they get they should get their full refund and be completely banned. Like,
but it's not. It's not just for Helldivers though.
No.
It's for a lot of Sony
every
games.
Sony game should always have that requirement. There should be no Sony game that does not have that requirement, because it's otherwise a really fucking shitty thing to do to developers. Like, no, it's shitty that you give some developers the option to sell in every country and others not to. So either you're going to can the PSN requirement.
Angle is Andrew farming here? Like, where is he going?
I am truly trying to be fair here. If PlayStation wants these PSN accounts, like, they need to make it either a do or die. Either every fucking game published with them goes with the understanding that a PSN account is required, or don't do it at all. Give it to completely be an optional thing based on the developer. Like, developers get to choose into the PSN system, because otherwise it's fucking unfair that Helldivers gets to sell to every fucking country in the world. And then some games are like, sorry guys, you don't allow PSN. I can't sell to you because Sony made it arbitrarily required. Like, that's lame. That's lame that you're giving some developers a golden ticket and some not. So keep it. I think Sony should keep that rule in place for every fucking developer. Like, Helldivers be damned. I don't care how popular it is. Ban it in the same places that other PSN published games would be banned.
Nah, I don't. I think that they shouldn't require for any game that has
I don't want PSN accounts. So if there was the option, I would prefer Sony gets rid of PSN accounts. But I also think that they should make it a consistent, enforced policy.
Yeah, it's not just for Helldivers, for every game. Yeah.
Correct. That's my stance. It's like, I don't like the PSN thing. So if you're like, I'm not for it. If anything, I would like Sony to just fall out of the sky and lose all network access entirely. But
not in the sky. What do you mean fall?
Yeah, out of the sky. Because they're all in the cloud. So I want them to fall out of the sky, lose all their internet. But if they're going to have this policy, if they're going to make it so, like, if I can't play Spider-Man or whatever on PC without having a fucking PSN account, like, if you're going to do that kind of shit, you might as well make it universal. Seems kind of lame to give Helldivers a benefit, like a free pass because it's popular. Like, you're telling me we don't know, but, like, you don't know if other games would be popular because they weren't sold.
I don't know what's going on with those countries, because, like, none of these games were like, none of their other games are restricted like that, right? On PC,
they are.
Yeah, it's a recent thing, as far as I understand.
So you can't buy God of War in the countries that you can't make like a Helldivers account in?
There's games that are restricted now, but they didn't used to, as far as I know.
They admittedly paid no attention to the entire rollout of PS4 games or PS5 games and so on Steam.
Yeah, you never need to notice.
They're literally the
obviously
most popular games, so they're the exact ones that are the only ones I've played on console in the last 4 years. Like, it's so laser targeted to be the exact only games I've played on console. Like that that level of critical mass.
I know that Ghost of Tsushima for PC is not available in all countries, and I'm pretty sure it requires a PSN account. I'm not sure, but I didn't see anything about it not. So yeah, and it's a Sony release.
There it is. Okay. So I'm trying to find God of War to see where it's banned at.
I don't know if it is.
Well, you know what?
Is it not?
How will you know?
Anyway, I didn't like that podcast.
You didn't like it?
What?
No, I don't, because it comes too close to like Slob and Corp Knob, and it's like, no, it's not what really the point I was making. Really, it's just being nuanced in that kind of thing, because it's always messy. Because I'm like, this is a bad decision. It shouldn't have happened. It's embarrassing that they'd made a choice this badly, where they like didn't know the train was coming somehow, and this obvious problem was going to come, and they let this even occur. But it's also dumb that there's people who can't buy a Sony game in the first place on PC. Like, why would that work that way? But I also think that elements of the outrage are manufactured and annoying. This is the rage cycles.
Well,
okay.
At least it's not as bad as like the usual thing. Like this week, people are just racist again, so that's worse.
Oh,
okay. Well,
but
that's,
whereas this thing was more like people love to be angry, so I think they like yes and onto controversies that don't affect them, and it would be good if I could sincerely believe that people genuinely care about things that don't affect them, and that does happen sometimes. But watching gamer outrage cycles, it's almost never that. It's almost always it's almost always I'm mad at this personally for political reasons, or I'm +1ing onto a controversy because I want to yell about something today.
In the specific case of Helldivers, the community manager Spitz, I think was his name, did tell people on the official Discord to go and complain in the appropriate channels, because on Discord they wouldn't get through to Sony,
which is cool.
People are saying that that's inciting a review bomb, which is not inciting a review bomb, because
I guess it's inciting a review bomb in that it did and obviously would.
And yeah, of course obviously would, but it's not what he did though. It's like if somebody says, hey, please don't complain here because Sony doesn't read here. It's the same exact thing that he did. Except, not the same verbiage, but it's the same thing. Would they complain that he incited a review bomb if he had said it that way? No. Because he was just, he used the language to make it obvious what he was trying to say. But either way, he got fired, I'm pretty sure. And that sucks.
Anyway, he got fired?
Yeah, they fired him.
Oh. That sucks.
Oh,
yeah.
That seems crazy.
I mean, yeah.
How do you?
It's the power structure of being employed, isn't it? Community managers have it rough. It's tricky being a community manager. I know a few in gaming, and I know a bunch outside of gaming as well, and they deal with so much of the direct hatred that is directed towards the games in ways that we don't get to see as outsiders. You think I don't know, Stardew Valley community.
I would never want to be the person whose job it is to interact with gamers all day.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they're responsible for actually driving engagement and communicating and all this sort of stuff. It's not just it's not being a sponge, but being a sponge is a huge part of the job.
And before someone makes the joke about Let's Player, I'm like, yeah, but I can just ignore everyone and there's no consequences.
Yeah, there's no KPIs for us.
I am a gamer facing face, but I can literally just stop looking, which is usually the right call.
Yeah.
So the people that aren't allowed to stop, I'm like, oh no. Are you okay?
No, it's not even allowed to stop. It's their job to look at it and to report on it and to deal with it.
That's what that means.
Yeah. Community managers are the unsung heroes of gaming.
Yeah.
And they need to be protected, honestly. And the structure that they live in.
Why don't you just get rid of them? Just I don't know why you need to.
The companies do though. They're the first ones to go.
Whenever I don't think the companies need. Yeah, but I don't think a company. That's what I'm saying a company doesn't need it. You can just not have it and save someone that pain. They don't need that kind of stress in their life.
If you're an indie company, you absolutely need people dealing with a community. 100%.
Nah, just ban everyone. It's fine.
Well, that's also the job of a community manager then.
Yeah.
Who's going to ban everyone?
Huh?
Who's going to block everybody on Twitter?
You just never start.
Can you imagine? It's the new hot game, Souls-like, with big boobs and no lace. And then they just block everybody on Twitter.
They remove the lace.
Yeah, so you just wipe them out.
It's a hypothetical example.
Oh my god.
Anyway, this week people are racist because there's a black guy in a Japanese game, even though he's based on a real historical figure.
He's
a super popular story as well.
One of two characters in a game set in Japan. One character is black. One character is Japanese. Yep. So it is not a single one guy, I guess. This isn't The Last Samurai, a movie about a white guy being a main character samurai in feudal Japan. I don't remember much. I don't remember a lot of controversy about that shit.
But he was there definitely for merit.
Where was all my Last Samurai haters? Gonna stand up now?
I think people didn't like The Last Samurai for that reason.
Well, people complained. It's just not the same people.
No, because they're complaining for very different reasons.
The absurdity is that this character, I forget his name though.
Yeah,
I've heard it. Yeah, that sounds familiar. There's like 3 different anime already about him, and it's like he's a super popular character anyway.
He's in Dynasty Warriors.
Oh my god, I didn't know about that.
He's a Dynasty Warriors character. Like you can't. And again, I don't remember no one said anything about it. I haven't seen any complaints about this dude showing up until today, suddenly, out of nowhere.
Curiouser. And what game is it, by the way?
Weird.
Do you know?
It's for Assassin's Creed. It's just a new Assassin's Creed game.
Oh,
it's just you're complaining about garbage. Like what is wrong with you?
I thought it was gonna be like at least.
What is sad? Like, no, it's just another fucking yearly Assassin's Creed installment. Just what a thing to get upset about. What a sad little waste of your fucking life. It's not even like some, I don't know, groundbreaking, state of the art new masterpiece. It's just a fucking Assassin's Creed game. It's not historically accurate. The game with the fucking god apple sent by aliens that fucking Da Vinci owned or whatever. Get the fuck away from me, you stinky little dumb fuck. I don't want to hear anything.
He's an historical figure. How is it not historically accurate?
I'm saying that
are people actually saying this not historically accurate?
Yes. They're saying it's like there was never a black samurai, and it's like, what do you mean? How does it matter if there's a black samurai? It's a game with a fucking magic apple.
But wasn't there a black samurai with this particular name that is of this particular person?
Yes, he is based historically on a person that has existed and was like a samurai in Oda Nobunaga's cabinet. Like he's not some weird made up fucking fantasy, man. He was a real person who existed in a real point in time. Like it's just. That's just weird behavior. Just a weird fucking controversy to have about a game that isn't even worth thinking about when you go to bed at night. Like you should go to sleep and then wake up tomorrow and forgot Assassin's Creed existed. That is like the only legal way you could possibly enjoy that game. Like there's no.
Oh boy,
wild. I cannot believe.
I stopped playing it at 4. I think I played every one before 4. No, that's not true. No, it is true. Yeah, I think that's where I stopped.
What?
But I am curious to see. Yeah, I haven't played Assassin's Creed at all since Assassin's Creed 4. Black Flag, I think it was called. But
yeah.
But isn't it because I think started in Unity or after Unity, the games are now very different. They're more sort of grind based.
I believe a lot of them.
Sort of thing.
Correct. They're like almost like level based open world games. It feels like.
Yeah.
They've diverted a lot from their original premise, which it seems weird because I felt like they struggled already with the open world of an Assassin's Creed game, and then they made it a more complicated open world, and so it feels like a weird. I don't know. But yeah, Assassin's Creed it's like Call of Duty. It's like, any of those kind of games that are like Madden or games that aren't really, you're not sitting there and you're putting your best and your brightest on making them. It's a thing that you're doing because you got to meet an annual quota. Like I don't know. It just, for me, it seems like a very weird thing to be upset about, even if you're, I don't know, even if you're like a fucking precious historian that cares so much about all the facts. Like it's a video game, man. It doesn't even matter. Like I don't care if maybe technically on some level you can't prove that he was technically a samurai because there's no like official record of
Half
samurai.
Of the samurais weren't technically samurais. That's not a thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying like on the most pedantic you could get. Sure, we don't have like a piece of paper that officially officializes who was all who every single samurai was.
Yeah.
In my understanding, the samurai just weren't that cool.
No, they weren't.
They were just cops, man.
Not even like... that. No, I don't think they were even cops. Weren't they like they were... fucking landlords? Like they were not landlords. They were just a dude that had this area of land, and he might be called to fight at some point, essentially. But largely, he just got to sit on this piece of land. That was most of their life. Like they weren't like cool anime boys doing crazy fights all the time and stuff. The way that like the media actually tries to portray them. Like to the point where I don't think even Ghost of Tsushima is like historically accurate in the way it presents samurai. No, it's like fetishizing them a bit.
A bit, yeah, because it's made in the context. Obviously, any samurai media is going to be made in the context of the expectations of people. If you're just going to tell a story or the real story of the samurai, you're going to need to make a documentary. Or at least a movie about the fact that it's the real story or something like that. Because otherwise,
like The Last Samurai.
Samurai. It's like seeing a person, just noting down the inventory of some farmer and being called a ninja, and people go, no, that's not a ninja. A ninja has a shuriken. But no, the ninjas were just scribes basically a lot of the time. Not scribes, but like. And just they were helpers. That's what a historically accurate ninja was. They weren't stealthy. They could be if they were helping a criminal, but yeah, the samurai have
telling me ninjas couldn't turn into pieces of wood when they got hit. Wow, this is
that from? Does that actually happen in Naruto?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my god! Like
during the concept of like the ninjutsu or whatever, the idea of like a mystical ninja art, all that kind of fantasy storytelling always has them do stuff like that. They can turn into wood if they get hit. They like things like that is all silly little stuff. I don't know. I think it's all fairy tale stuff. Like I don't think anybody treats it as serious canon.
It's fine. I mean, it's fine to be fairy tale. You can tell fairy tales. Fairy tales are fine, and it's fine to not know the past and think it was real, but still tell cool stories about that. It's whatever. And so what I'm saying is, it's fine to not be historically accurate. And but I will agree with you, and I will agree with you, Andrew, that it also is just a video game. I think that is a reasonable attitude to have for anybody. But if somebody just takes it all way too seriously and doesn't agree with that stance, that's fine as well. What I'm trying to say though is that even if you take the stance of it's fine, it's just a video game, these people are just showing their entire ass by complaining, because it's not about the arguments they make. At the end of the day, that's the reality of it. It doesn't matter the reasons that they come up with to be against the portrayal of whatever character or the choice of whatever characters. is we know what they're up to. We know what they're doing. You know, it is weird though. It's like the conversation about pronouns being about the grammar of pronouns, because obviously that's not the issue. It's just transphobia that's the issue with the pronouns debate, as it were. But
honestly, it always feels like it stems from the same fucking guy, and I'm kind of also getting tired of that shit.
Of course,
I feel like every time I hear about it, it's from like one particular guy on the internet, and I have never been more embarrassed.
Oh, I thought it said
to know of a person's existence. No,
it's
guy.
not.
I think
they do all say the same thing, but that's more due to just the nature of echo chambers and just sort of like coordinated hate campaigns and things like that. I feel anyway.
Well, I wish they had some like logic or actual genuine concerns to raise. I'm tired of like the faux problems.
Their concern
get
is
real
that
problems, please.
White supremacy is not cool anymore.
Oh man, you know what's also not cool anymore? Pogs. But you don't see the fucking Pog company going around making goddamn controversy every fucking day. Like, get a better thing to do with your life.
Folks in white supremacy, am I right, folks?
Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine every fucking time a company wasn't getting the attention they deserved, they had to like go out of their way to make society worse? No, like you would not tolerate that shit. So get the fuck away from me, though. You stinky little poopy.
Nestle.
No, they get upset if they can't can't get a product made. They don't get upset that people don't like them. People don't like them, then they just like lie. But I don't know. It's not like a global controversy we have to deal with. We don't have to like wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, shut up about this. I don't like, what's your problem? Go do something. Just like, I get it. I get the whole grift. I get it. It's just like after living through fucking Gamergate once, it's like, I don't want to do it again. It's so fucking,
I know.
It's never going to
happen. I'm so tired.
It's such a fucking boring waste of time. It is. It's happening right now. Every fucking goddamn time I turn on the internet, it's always just the same fucking talking points again. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe gamers can't have fun anymore because there's minorities in games, and I just don't get it. Why am I not being exclusively pandered to every waking moment of my entire life? Like I was a fucking king in a fucking royal court. It's so fucking aggravating. Like shit, I don't want to know about any Assassin's Creed game. I don't want to know anything at all. I don't even want to see the fucking cover of an Assassin's Creed game. And now that stupid fucking thing has been everywhere on the fucking internet, and I am so tired of it. If there's anything,
Assassin's Creed, that's the reality. That's the real hatred.
It is. It's like I don't.
I know it.
Gamergate is exposing me to things that I don't want to see in my daily life in a way that makes me infuriated. Like all it does is it infects the rest of the internet, and then I can't enjoy what I go on the internet for anymore because we're all sitting there blabbering about shit that doesn't fucking matter. I don't care about Assassin's Creed games. Stop talking about it. If you don't like it, if you don't like there's a black samurai on there, don't buy the fucking game and move on with your life, dude. I don't sit here and rewatch fucking Samurai Champloo every fucking week because it's not interesting to me. But you know what? I don't make it a problem for everyone. I don't get super fucking mad about it, right? Like, it's weird. It's such a weird behavior, and we've done it before. We've seen how dumb it is, how literally childishly pathetic it is to watch grown adults argue about nothing, literally fucking nothing. Because you know what they do? They buy the game anyways. No matter how much they bitch about it and they sit there and scream like they're gonna fucking puke, they still go out and they still buy these fucking games. And that's what makes me want to strangle the life out of them. Like you're just lying. You still ingest this content. Like, don't fucking lie to me. I think all the people I bet you that complained about fucking Helldivers 2 that were like, I will never touch this game. I bet your dumb motherfucking asses were playing it the whole time. You just turned off the Discord thing that told you what games you're playing. You pretended you were offline or whatever and just didn't show the game you're playing and still played those stupid fucking games. Like, I hate it. I hate it. It's so fake. It's so fake and a waste of my fucking time. Ugh.
I think I think that Gamergate is never going to happen again because the reality is, or was rather, the reality of Gamergate was that gaming as a whole was shifting, starting with the late 2000s. It was shifting away from what it had been up until then, because you need to look. You look at the game. What was there was one game. There's a walking sim. Gone Home. Yes. If you look at Gone Home, that game couldn't have existed 10 years before. Not in the sense that nobody would have made it, but in the sense that it wouldn't have made as much sense, just because games were, they weren't grown up. Games weren't grown up enough to have a Lost Home in the 1990s. And I'm saying this, and I'm pretty sure there is a Lost Home from the 1990s. I'm just saying that the impact, the cultural impact of Gone Home was bigger, I think, and it was bigger in the 2000s than it could have ever been, and that's a one-way street. It doesn't go back. Gamergate didn't achieve anything that period, apart from hatred, but it didn't achieve anything in terms of shifting the way the industry was going and is going, and I think that's why I'm saying that it can't happen again, because everybody is wise to it already. You're not gonna like.
Then why the fuck are we still talking about this shit again? Like, why are they still allowed to yap as loud as they do and people react to it? Either everyone is lying about caring about this thing.
No, they do. I'm sure they care. I'm not sure they care, because the grift is real, but I'm sure a lot of people do care. But it's isolated incidents. It's specific games. It's specific controversies. And it's not even specific people, which was a huge sort of component of Gamergate back then. The Anita Sarkeesian and other people, I forget the names anymore. But it's not even specific people anymore. And I'm not saying that a new moment like Gamergate would require that sort of focus. It probably would need to be like that to be considered a resurgence of Gamergate. But I think generally speaking, the biggest reality is that, or the biggest reality shift is that games are not there anymore. Games have moved away from the sort of macho culture that was the vast majority of games in the 1990s. And the early 2000s, and it's just the majority instead of the vast majority, and there's a lot of lip service that wasn't there at all before, because it wasn't needed. Lip service to diversity and to cultural sensibilities and to representation, things like that don't necessarily, like, for example, the whole Assassin's Creed starts with a screen saying that this is a work of fiction made by a multicultural team of people with diverse beliefs and identities and religious, affiliations and all that sort of stuff. I don't remember exactly the details of how it starts, but it does start with that screen. I think everyone starts with that screen, and it wasn't true back then. And it was, the whole company of, like, Ubisoft is a shit company, but Ubisoft specifically, they just use that to sort of cover their ass in a way that it sort of reap the benefits of this game is very culturally appropriate by while at the same time making their games with majority white male teams that like systemically drove out people from minorities. There's a bunch of stories about women being harassed and non-white people being subjected to microaggressions and discrimination and salary differences and a bunch of other stuff. This, not recent, recent as well, but not just recent. Ubisoft is the company that showed to everybody at the beginning of their game, hey, this is a multicultural team, but they're still just like what you would expect from a big gaming company from the 2000s. What I'm trying to say is the lip service is there today in ways that reflects a need that didn't exist before quite as much before Gamergate. And so, I think there's no going back is what I'm saying. It's all.
I think my annoyance is that I don't know what the lie even is. Like before, the old Gamergate was a lie about ethics and journalism or whatever, but like I don't even know what is the problem here. Like what's the hurdle we are tackling? What is the fight we are fighting? Because if the fight is diversity, why? What's the negativity in diversity? Because I haven't seen less white people in video games, so it's not like it's an exclude. It's like not a replacement. So
it is branded as a white replacement. Yeah, it is.
How is it a white replacement? They haven't gone away. They're not going away. They're still there pretty prominently.
Yeah, that's why it's just a conspiracy theory, and that's why it's just a.
But I'm saying that, like, again, Gamergate, the original, had a lie around it to try and justify its actions that had legitimacy, not in its claim.
I don't think
no, not in its claim, in its existence. Like when someone says, "I have a problem with games journalism,"
right? It was like a good cover.
You can go, yeah. You could say like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Like, yeah, maybe there might be something on games journalism, and again. Yeah, but like you can't look at me in the face and go like, yeah, but there's less white people in video games. Like, what? What do you mean? Like, can you prove that? Like, can you games journalism can provably be corrupt? Like you have publishers paying for reviews. You have things like there is such a thing as corruption in journalism. Just not just games, every journalism. But like replacement is such a ridiculous notion. You can't tell me that with a straight face. It's like calling the earth flat. It's like so conspiratorial that you sound like a loon saying it.
Well, you'd think so, but there's a lot of people
I know so. I'm saying hearing
No, it is true. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying also that there's a lot of people that hear that and don't think people like that sound like loons. That hear arguments for that and say, "Oh no, yeah. The relative white population is declining. It is a white replacement." And obviously, this is a very, very complicated subject to cover in a gaming podcast or whatever it's supposed to be. And I recommend a YouTube channel from I'm trying to think if it was Sean that made a video about it.
He's white, right?
Sean? I don't know actually.
He better be, otherwise the theory's proven true.
I am right. in the video that I'm thinking. Sean has a video from 6 years ago, actually, called "The Great Replacement Isn't Real," featuring Lauren Southern, and it goes over just the major points. So it's a good introduction for people who don't know what we're talking about, or maybe don't agree with us and have seen the propaganda and have bought into the lie. Because that's basically the situation.
For anyone who was confused why I threw that guy off the roof in Dragon's Dogma 2.
Did you find a white replacement guy in the game?
Yeah, in that game there's a royal who talks about it's like you're seeing more and more cat people lately, and you know that if a person and a cat person breed, the child's always a cat person. And it's like,
I'm
like, oh wow, he's just doing the great replacement at me. I'm gonna throw him off this balcony, and then I did.
Huh? Well, he's against miscegenation. I think that's how it's said. But yeah, wow, that's weird that they would put that in the game. Why would? Wow. But still, I mean, it's just whatever.
Whoa, I mean,
the question is whether or not they were doing commentary or not when they did that.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing this guy into space.
You were doing commentary.
Unfortunately, he survived. So the next, so I found him later on, and then I threw him into the ocean the second time.
It's more commentary. There you go.
You can kill him, you can kill every character in the game.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. As long as he's killable.
Well, apart from he didn't die. He apparently wasn't killable the first time.
Well, I didn't try that hard. I just threw him off a balcony.
Yeah,
I wasn't actively trying to test the game's wanted level systems or something and cause problems for myself.
I see. I think I don't want to go into an offshoot about performative displays of hatred in video games, but I have things to say about that. But I just want to make a point about specifically the Gamergate 2 or whatever being about or because it's not the first time Gamergate 2 has happened.
Don't want another one.
They have tried to call it a bunch of times. It's just, it is true that it's a much harder sell, I think, to a lot of people than the feminists have gone too far. Because I at the end of the day, that is the crucial.
Gone too far.
That is the crucial claim of the original Gamergate. It isn't about ethics in games journalism. Is the feminists have gone too far? That's the claim.
Well,
and that's what people got hooked into.
I know the reality was just anti-woman, but it's just I love the.
But that's what people.
It's just gone too far. These women have had it too good for too long. We can't keep letting this happen.
Yeah, I mean, tell me that's not true, though. Tell me that's not exactly what happened.
Damn, women can't keep getting away with rights.
Yeah,
what a problem. So dumb. Just a waste of my time. I've got such more concerning things I want to get done in society. I don't have time for this shit.
Because back then you'd see the debunked theories like the or not debunked theories, but like them trying to debunk the wage gap, for example. That was a big talking point back then. And people, the wage gap isn't real. How does that connect to Gamergate? God knows. But it was a part of the whole thing. And how are we going to do the same thing now? How are we going to? I mean, they are trying to do the same thing now, but in relation to race, because it's just not. It doesn't work. It's a way harder sell, and it's the wrong order. If they had done it before going against feminism, maybe it would have worked. But even then, I think it was going to be difficult.
I just can't see how.
I'm just preemptively exhausted because it's like along the lines of thinking like, oh God, a third Trump election.
Yeah,
it's happening again.
That's a big can of worms.
That's
a big can of worms.
It's supposed. It's just you're like after 2, it's supposed to be over. No, they can't keep doing this. It can't be.
Yeah, it is.
Literally, the last decade of my life has been the Trump election cycle.
Yeah,
because elections start 3 years before they happen, seemingly, and so it was this endless thing where it's like, Jesus Christ, like I was barely a YouTuber when all this shit started happening. And even then, it was like he was in the news constantly back in high school for the birther shit. And like the lead up to the Hillary election was a fucking eternity. That was back when I was still working at my old job. And the fucking heartache and nightmare of sitting through it the second time, and then it's just fucking there's a third one. It's just gonna keep happening. I swear to God, like if you like, I'm just like, this guy needs to like age out and die, please. Yep. If he loses this next election, because like, especially if he wins, actually. But like like, holy fuck, I can't. It can't be 20 years of this, can it? It can't keep going forever, right? We can't just keep having Trump presidential elections forever, right?
Trump does have a couple of kids.
Like, is he about to be Nixon in a head, like the head jar from Futurama, and he's gonna have like a fucking 17th consecutive election? I'm like,
holy shit! Honestly,
I'm just like, they were already the oldest people.
Yeah.
I'm just tired all the time.
Isn't it fun?
I'm just tired all the time.
My thing, that's my thing. That's why I'm so infuriated. Where I'm like, look, I don't have the tolerance for this anymore. I've got so many more important, more concerning things to deal with. I am not wasting my time on the most asinine, like you deserve to get pushed down a flight of stairs kind of shit. Like, I don't like seeing black people in my games. It's like, man, I don't have time for this shit. You need to just like get a rocket, go fly to Mars. I promise you, there's no black people on Mars. You just go there, you hang out, breathe some of that nice Martian air, and leave me the fuck alone. Like, just get out of my face. I can't. Dude, there's just so much bad. There's so much bad in a lot of directions. We're not even talking about like games imploding as just a medium. Every game studio is just being thrown into the trash can this year. Like that's a great sign.
That's just same old. And
no, it's not. It is literally double the amount. There's been double the amount of layoffs this year for gaming than there was the entire year of last year. Like, it's hemorrhaging.
It's the most correct thing I've ever done was give up on becoming a game developer.
Yes, yeah.
I went to school and to computer science, trying to figure out some kind of on ramp towards working on games. But as cool as making games might be in concept, the industry is such an absolute fucking nightmare that it actively seems to hate its own workers.
Yeah,
and like, nope.
It seems. What do you mean? Nope. It seems to. It definitely hates its own workers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I just mean like it's.
Yeah.
It just is. You inherently feel the need to phrase it in a way that like acknowledges how insane that is, because it's the only way that any of the games exist. So you're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you doing? They're the ones that do the thing.
They're making bank. What do you think this is? A charity? Must exploit my workers. Otherwise, how can I pacify the shareholders? They have stocks. Actually, that's I'm being simplistic. Companies without stocks also hate their workers and also exploit their workers.
Wow.
So
no,
I don't want to make it seem like it's only companies that are traded in the stock market that are victim to the system. No, everyone. It's everyone.
Positives, not in this podcast.
Hey, I'm not a doomer.
What?
We're just rehashing the same conversation we've had for the last 3 years on this podcast.
Yeah, can someone roll back the tape? I want that on record.
I don't know. I'm feeling this conversation. I'm feeling this conversation is very fresh. We haven't talked about this enough. We should talk more about this.
Yeah, we should be dooming more, guys.
What else is there to say?
Let's I don't know. It's just it's
just bad evil.
There's a lot of bad going on, and it's fine. I'm not taking it as like end of the world. I'm just taking it as like an exhausted, frustrating sigh of, God, can we just move on from this phase already? I'm ready for like part 2 or whatever. It's
called late stage. We're already there.
I mean, there's not going to be a late stage. If late stage happens, then I just have to go into Outer Worlds mode, and then that's it. You won't have.
That's just feudalism, though. Outer Worlds is feudalism.
No, he means the part where he shoots all the NPCs.
I mean the part where I just wipe out capitalism.
He's talking about how
like a concept.
he scoured the entirety of the Outer Worlds setting of capitalism.
It's called revolution. Praxis, motherfucker.
No, he did an entire revolution. It was a way to play the game.
It was apparently the best way, because I got the good ending. So
to be fair,
I did. I got the good ending. So the game wanted me to do that.
The ending is decided at the end, I think.
However that works.
Yeah,
I mean, there wasn't a company.
Was Outer Worlds another one of those games where the ending has almost nothing to do with your actions throughout the game? It's kind of like pick one.
Yeah. Because it also has the vignettes that tell you about the other stuff, like a Fallout does. Yeah,
that's their way of trying to be reactive.
I say like a Fallout.
You kind of just like it. I appreciate the effort when RPGs do that, but I also like it's so naked in what it's doing that it always kind of bothers me. Like one of the roughest cases is probably New Vegas, where they have all those DLCs, and so like you're wrapping up the things, and it's just like, and here's the flag from that DLC, and here's the flag from that thing, and it's literally just like you can just like it wants to give you the impression that this is a huge sprawling world of interconnected people and systems, and that you affected them in these ways, and it's all like real and whatnot, which is impossible, obviously. Like that's not will basically never happen. But basically, like the biggest surprise that Fallout slides can hit you with at the end is like the unexpected consequences of your major narrative actions. Like, oh no, you did this with that faction, and that has that effect on Arcade now, and no, like that's like the best they can do as far as like making the world feel connected. But there's this whole middle/late section that's inevitably just like, you resolve this one quest this way, you resolve this one quest this way. No, but I'm saying like these are like some of the best examples in the genre, and that's what they've peaked at. It's like that's still like these literally are the games people say are the best RPGs, and the best they can handle variability is still just being like, you know, that one quest that happened in a total vacuum 30 hours ago. Just reminding you this is how it ended.
But that's not how. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be like that. I think that's what they did to the DLCs, because you can't show long-term in New Vegas.
Yeah, but it's not even just DLCs. It's just like there's inevitably like those strange one-off quests. Like, wow, yeah, it looks like the dog you placed the brain of had a long, happy life or whatever.
But the cool thing about those vignettes is that you get to see in the future about the consequences. It's not like you did this. The cool thing is then sometimes,
like I said, like there are good examples in that sequence.
Yeah.
Like the one I gave, for example. Like I'm saying that there's good ways to do it, but inevitably a whole middle chunk of that marathon of what's frankly probably too many slides is the part where they just like, yeah, you went and you didn't give the people the water, so they didn't have water. Remember that?
Yeah, I see what you mean. There's some choices that can't
there's always listen, you did 700 quests this game. We're just going to randomly remind you of some of them, but not in a way that goes anywhere, and it doesn't like have knock-on effects with the other quests. Like with the crazy shit you want, the crazy shit you want is for it to go full Yog, and you're like, you were a werewolf and you went crazy in the woods as a werewolf, and then your friend gets his ending and he's like, oh, you fled into the woods where you were unfortunately savaged by the werewolf, your friend. like that's the crazy shit. Is like when Yog, that even and it's rare in Yog too, but I've lost my fucking mind when Yog was like, oh god, my ending affected their ending directly. Like I killed them as the werewolf. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so like you want to see how the decisions you made in various quests affect each other, because that makes it feel like a world, or to have like a collective recap / response that feels like it actually is taking into account the individual things and how those like different outcomes would interact with each other. But instead it's like, you know, that one quest, you did that, you know, that other quest you did that. No. And then there may be like there might be like a slider somewhere. It's like, yeah, you were well respected in the wasteland and everybody loved your name and sang it in songs because you had a karma of 27.
I think that just happens because of the specific people who did New Vegas in particular or whatever, because the good examples aren't that at all. Like the coolest thing,
but there's just always the bad examples in there. They're always there.
No, cool examples.
I'm just saying they're funny.
Oh, I see you. Yeah,
I'm just saying that there's always the funny bad slides where I'm just like, why? Okay, man. Yeah, I know. I remember.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I don't know. I just love Fallout 1 and 2 that delivers so much story in, because the story of the Fallout 1 and 2 isn't necessarily very story rich. Like you get all the side quests and you get to solve the problems or whatever, but it's not about the story that you're telling. It's about the problems that you're facing and how you solve them. But so much of the story of Fallout 1 and 2 is told in the vignettes at the end in a way that the rest of the game doesn't do. And New Vegas doesn't do that though. New Vegas tells a lot of story during the game. And a lot of newer RPGs do that as well. Yeah, to the point where I think the vignettes 1 and 2. Yeah, no. I'm just sort of building off of your argument, because I think in a way the newer RPGs don't really need the vignettes. And I like, for example, Baldur's Gate 3. You haven't finished.
You just make actual epilogues or conversations with people and so on.
Yeah, that too. For one,
I have not finished Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay. That you can make epilogues. That's definitely one thing. But I think another thing as well is because the games are so story rich, and Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example of that. When you arrive at an ending and the ending sort of reaches a climax and a narrative point of stability in a way, and the game ends with you solving the big problem. Maybe you have a couple of conversations to solve your companion's quests or something, and nothing else gets told to you. Because this is how Baldur's Gate 3 got shipped, and this it's not a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil the patch if you haven't read the patch notes. But Baldur's Gate 3 got shipped like this. The ending is basically it's like a movie. You get to see the story. You see this big climax. You see this big problem that arises, and you solve it in an RPG way, right? And you have your companions that all have their own quests going on and all their problems and all that. And at the end, you don't get vignettes. And then they patched the vignettes after. They patched not just the vignettes after. They patched a bunch of other stuff after. But you're gonna get to see it when you end the game. I'm saying that I felt.
Did they add the vignettes later?
Yes.
Yeah.
I imagine just having a narrator drone on for a long time makes it feel like there's more of an ending when people want, because they'll say that the ending is abrupt otherwise.
Yeah, that's what people complained about. But I was like, no, it's like a, it's not. It is abrupt in the sense that, sometimes it ends.
Sometimes it's you have to.
I don't want it to whimper out. Don't whimper out. Which I actually think.
I think sometimes it's about like setting the mood. It's like it's about atmosphere and the feeling that you did the thing. So maybe just literally recapping a bunch of the game is like, it gives you this feeling. Oh, I went on such a big, crazy journey. Whoa, and like that maybe is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, but that's just whimpering. Yeah, it is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, it's narratively weak honestly, to end on a clip show.
It is,
which everyone knows about everything. But
it's not really what they did.
People say that they want their coffee, that they want black coffee and medium rare steak, and then reality differs from what choices people actually make. So there's the part of your brain that puts all those documentaries on your Netflix list to watch later, and then there's the part of your brain that never clicks on them to actually watch them because you're aspirationally thinking of yourself as being a different kind of person, because that sounds like somebody with taste. Then that's different. That differs from the decisions you make day to day. And in that way, we all tell ourselves clip shows are bad, and we don't want clip shows because that's bad content. But then people are pleased by clip shows, so
that's what happens.
Checkmate.
And
what the hell?
I honestly think it's more of it. I don't dislike the way they changed the game. Having never experienced the original, like first person, like myself, I have never experienced the ending as it was when it shipped. But I saw the changes, or I saw the change log, so I know what changed, and I think it was fine before. And it's fine for people to not like it. It's fine for people to say it's abrupt. But an abrupt ending is still an ending, and whimpering out is not. I don't think that's any better.
I like when video games end.
Like Minecraft.
That's cool. Yeah. I like when Minecraft ended.
You killed the dragon. And you got an achievement called The Beginning.
Whoa.
Of the end.
It's
the beginning of the end. Is that the name of the achievement? When you kill the dragon in Minecraft? No, I don't think so. I think it's the beginning.
Remember. No, Minecraft ended 10 years ago.
Yeah, Minecraft ended forever ago.
The end was.
I think they got armadillos recently.
When are we doing another 24-hour Minecraft charity stream?
I don't know. Whenever there's a charity to give money to,
there's always charities.
Yeah.
Then do another one. I've never. No one's ever been like, let's do another 24-hour stream. And I was like, no, ew, how dare you? Don't even mention it in my face. Like, I have not rejected a single charity offer.
Keith just doesn't want the sausages again.
That's true.
People, for context, there's a video about it. Let me see.
It's like so hard to find.
Sausage.
We played Minecraft, and Colonel said if somebody donates this much right now, then Keith will recreate the Lindsay Ellis gif where she gets sausages thrown at her face. And then that happened, so I did. And Stephanie threw vegan sausages at me because I got her vegan sausages because she doesn't eat meat. That just seemed polite.
Wow.
And then she picked them back up and ate them.
I mean,
so
why would she not?
Yeah.
Like, why would you? Did you?
She didn't even share.
She just cooked them up.
She didn't even share with you.
I didn't really want them that badly. There was one that was lost in the shuffle though. So like a month later, there was one of the dogs got in my room and was sniffing at my bookshelf, and I was like, "What the fuck's going on here? Why are you so intent over here?" And there was like a fucking like mummified, dried like mushroom sausage just hidden behind something that we had lost. It's like it didn't like It didn't like swell or burst or rot or anything gross. It was just dried, like jerky. Because like it doesn't have meat in it, so it's like nothing in it's gonna go that bad. It's like it's like the equivalent of like losing
plants.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of like not picking up after your plant shedding enough. But it's just like, oh, it's still really here. Funny. It's like it's akin to how to this day I'll still occasionally find a piece of confetti in my room. Just in strange places.
Really? From the Beastar video?
Yeah. They just Jesus. Got in nooks and crannies because like I haven't like moved my like furniture. Like I still live in the same room.
You got the gay all over the place.
Individual pieces of confetti are still just like staggered here and there somewhere. Like I vacuumed the room immediately. Funny. It's just there's surprises.
Yeah. But it's just it gets into places because it's so thin and paper like. You're just like, what the fuck? How did you? Where did you?
Do I still have one of those? I don't remember if I still have one of those. I bought multiple confetti tubes, and after the first one, which I fired it, I think I fired it into my face after it said not to.
Excuse me?
I have glasses on. It's fine. I did immediately I did immediately not use any of the other ones. I think because like it was so loud that I immediately was self-conscious of the fact that I'm in a house with people. Like
no, that's the worst.
It's such the confetti tubes are so fucking loud. I probably down mixed it and stuff, but it's just like just the worst. But
that's funny.
Because I think it's just like a vacuum tube that's primed to cause a specific reaction when you like pop the vacuum essentially. But it's just like, oh my god, it's just way louder than I ever anticipated it to be. Fucking t-shirt cannon ass nightmare device.
It's a self overstimulator.
Yeah. Well, you try to come up with anything to happen in your videos when you're trapped in one room the whole time. Like how that video keeps moving around the room. At one point, I'm standing on a stepladder in the corner of my room by my Berserk volumes, looking down at the camera. Because I don't know, man. Some of it was planned, and some of it was literally just me improvising on the spot. And I'm like, if I set up a shot, I'll have to just start filming now, right? And I'll stop. I think I was thinking of the word contriving. That's not it. Procrastinating. I'll just stop procrastinating on making fucking progress here. I guess my brain was trying to go for like, yeah, exactly. I was like, why did I get here? I'm like, was my brain thinking contriving reasons to procrastinate? Maybe is that where my brain was going? But yeah, I needed like. When you're filming such a fucking long thing where the end result's 3 hours long, like the recording is like 6 to 9 hours long or something, and it takes multiple days because of batteries running out and processing footage and all that. It's like at some point you're just trying to gain momentum at all, so you just make choices on the fly and be like, now I gotta do it, we just gotta go. And then there's a lot of like less than good shots and maybe out of focus camera moments and bad lighting choices and things because I'm just trying to make the video. And it's like it's like no one's gonna watch this anyway. It's only gonna everything on this channel only had 4,000 subscribers at the time, or 4,000 views at the time, and then now everyone lives with every bad choice I made in that video because it's fucking exploded. At 1.2 million now.
I still can't believe you really thought it wasn't gonna get 2.2 million.
1.2 million.
Oh, 1.2. I thought, well, wow, that was a big jump.
I mean. That's crazy.
Yeah, my most popular video on my Let's Play channel has 430,000 views. I keep saying subscribers. That's my 8-year-old Wasteland playthrough, part 1, which is the one that was shared by Brian Fargo, the creator of Fallout and Wasteland.
Well, not the creator of Fallout. He was the lead of Interplay when Fallout
was. A creator of Fallout.
Well, he never actually worked on Fallout.
He was creator of Wasteland.
Okay, yes, he was the creator.
I got it mixed up. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
And I'm just pedantic. Don't worry.
We're just gonna Hatsune Miku Fallout, and now it's Brian Fargo's instead of Todd's.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's probably better. I don't know. Has Brian Fargo been canceled?
Has Brian Fargo been canceled?
I don't know. Being on the internet makes you afraid to ever refer to anybody that isn't in your immediate line of sight because you don't know what the fuck they did in the last 5 minutes and like why your comment might age poorly. Like even in my
in
my fucking essays, I'll just be like, I'm just listing off some comics that people know, and people are like, I can't believe you gave a platform to that person. I'm like, oh god, what happened now? God damn it! I was just listing some comics. I can't keep up with all this shit.
Well, I do feel self-conscious when I say that one of my first loves of anime. Why am I talking about? Why am I voluntarily talking about something that makes me self-conscious? I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
All right. Well, you heard it here.
Look at that.
You heard it here first, folks.
I've just learned my lesson.
Nothing.
I should just never refer to anything, and also never have any guest voice actors anywhere. Just don't bring anyone to voice act anything.
All right.
Except Andrew. We already know why he's canceled. It's because of all the things he says.
I come pre-canceled. It's nice. You don't have to worry about me. You're getting me because
you're home pre-canceled.
No,
I mean there is a certain freedom in being the person that just like says so much wild shit that nobody's gonna like. At some point, everyone's like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Yeah,
and they're all
like,
this is just this is how he talks all the time.
I'm not racist. I'm not sexist. Easy problem. Done. I don't have to worry about anything. All right. I have terrible opinions, and that's it. Like I'm not gonna. The president's not gonna come after me. I'm not gonna be on the front of CNN. I'm not that cool. I just have bad opinions, and you don't have to worry about them escalating anywhere beyond that. Easy. Problem solved. Hire me. I'm just dumb. It's the best. It's the best kind of cancel.
Just dumb.
Yeah, I'm just stupid. You don't have to worry about anything else. I'm just incredibly stupid, and that's nice. What a nice thing to not have to worry about.
A warm, cozy dose of stupid.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm not calling you stupid. You're calling you stupid.
I am stupid. I am employably stupid. I can do my job, but I will never get canceled.
Employably stupid.
Employably stupid.
Yeah,
that's what it's thought. No, I'm actually don't know if that was.
Oh my god!
It's any business would love to have an employably stupid person. It's like Homer Simpson.
Oh yeah, I can see that. No, not the Homer Simpson bit, but what you're talking about.
Well, thank you. I don't think I look like Homer Simpson. I meant just mentally.
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying that in terms of companies liking that. Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, so I have not been canceled. Good luck. Try it. I dare you. Step into the arena. Cancel me.
We'll see who cancels you.
No.
No. Okay.
It's not fucking challenge this. Jesus Christ.
No, I have no.
Andrew's been online for way too long. I do not want to test the idea of fucking someone doing a comprehensive report. I have such a, but I'm trying to even think, like I have such a nothing life. That's like where the confidence comes from. My life is so incredibly innate. Like I just spent the majority of my life sitting on the internet, but I've never done. But yeah, innate. I've never done anything. Okay. Yeah, you just say shit. Just
like
I just stream of consciousness. And you had much worse politics when we met. So I don't.
Yeah, sure, but again, never done anything. I think doing things is how you get canceled. Saying things is rarely how you get canceled.
YouTube channel.
Saying things is how people get mad at you on Twitter. But doing things is how the police come to your house. And I've never done anything. So like I'm not concerned. I literally never leave. Right now I'm not even leaving my home to do this.
Why is every podcast we do worse than the last one?
That's the best part about them. See, again, that's the kind of quality you get when you get Andrew.
So it's good. It's good.
You never escaped the fucking Rooster Teeth Gus mentality of like, my retirement plan is a shotgun at 40.
Holy crap, wait a second, isn't he 40 years old? Did he follow through with that shit? I'm gonna be mad.
He did not follow through with that, as it turns out.
Did he not? Aged. Are you kidding me?
It's almost like people. It's almost like it sounds so rad when you're 25, and then you have a life, and you're like, hang on, maybe I should stop being an edgelord.
No. At 45, wait, what did he say? 40 or 45? How old was he?
I think it was 40. I don't know.
Okay, at 40, I'm
been long enough that I remember people like I remember people ribbing him about his like whole dumb thing in later years, and him like kind of like walking it back and stuff because it was him being a jackass. And even that, like even that retraction sort of or whatever would have itself been like fucking, I don't know, 8 years ago at this point, because the Rooster Teeth was so old.
I mean, it's so old that is probably not an ill-considered idea given the company's shut down now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he has retirement now.
I don't think I've followed up on. I don't think I've watched anything by Rooster Teeth in like 6 years. Kind of fell off completely.
Neither did the owner of HBO.
I used to listen to the podcast. Like for a while, I used to listen to both.
When it was called the Drunk Tank.
Yeah, the Drunk Tank podcast. I remember when it was the Drunk Tank. I remember when they had episode 100, I think, was like the 100 episode special where they were like, it's going to be a video. Whoa. And it was like a video of them in their crappy little room that they record the podcast in. Which is funny.
Like a shitty conference room or something, right?
Yeah, they were
like
just really recording the podcast in a conference room sitting around a table.
The cables were a nightmare. They're just all going into the center of the table, and it was like a shitty fucking mic board sitting there that they all plugged into, and that just went to a computer at the edge of the conference table.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember when it expanded to being they started working on the set when they got to the new lot, and they're making like turning it into a whole video podcast, because that's the funniest evolution of podcasts, is that they've started becoming video podcasts. So they started becoming the exact opposite of the original premise of podcasts. And there was like so many, like people hated the video podcast at first because they had so many audio problems and so many technical difficulties, because they were obviously trying to make the whole like studio thing work and get there. But they figured it out eventually, although it is less natural to awkwardly sit on a series of couches that are facing lights and cameras than it is to sit around a table looking at each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I've always noticed that my favorite video podcasts are the ones where the video part's done really badly, because the priority is just being able to be in a room, being in a room where you can interact with each other clearly and like look at each other and chat and so on. It's kind of like how everything that cleans up our audio on Sad Games makes the show slightly worse, because we're like slightly more like complicating the process of recording and so on, or like getting distant from each other and so on. Like at the beginning, we literally just sat at a table next to each other and yelled at the screen together, and eventually it was like, you be at that screen, I'll be at this screen, and we're facing away from each other, and like you can't see each other's reactions to things. And then eventually, like, now our audio is super clean because we're not in the same city, so there's no overtalk, but the energy is different across the internet than it is just being immediately in the room. So like, I think the best audio podcasts are.
It's fine.
Most audio podcasts are recorded online for convenience, because it's a bunch of like, it's always just some online friend group that was like, what if we made a podcast like this? But the origins of the podcast, we were literally just looking at each other. We used to just sit at a table and look at each other.
Yeah.
And it was that's a better energy a lot of the time.
Because here we have to raise each other up by actual words. And in a podcast, you can do a lot of stuff off camera that people don't necessarily listen to.
One of the most dodged bullets of all time is the fact that like I met Andrew at 2 midnight releases of video games, and then later on I was getting incensed by all of like the political protesters at not really political protesters. I guess they're basically political protesters, just not the ones you think of on college campus. The people the people that show up to colleges to basically protest against the students' supposed ideology that they assume they have. So like they show up to college to like protest abortion or to spread God and things like that. And all these people were so frustrating that like my dumb ass was like, I'm gonna make a YouTube show where I interview these people and use my big boy brain. And it's like, it all has this energy of like fucking Steven Crowder's Change My Mind table. And I put out feelers for like a thing to discuss stuff. Like, and I figured we'd all like do a podcast where I don't know if we even knew what podcasts were back then, but we'd do like a meetup where we all like bring topics and we all like debate things or something. So I brought, and we did it. Andrew volunteered to host it at his place, so we went to his garage with some of my friends and him and so on. But then we just like had a funny conversation for an hour instead, and completely derailed from anything we were trying to do that night. And that became like Sit and Discuss, which was the original YouTube channel we had. So it was just like a fucking, like, we literally started doing podcasts before we did anything else. We just would hang out and like yell about dumb bullshit. And then we started doing Let's Plays.
Yeah, we've always been like this.
Yeah, no, this has been the through line of my YouTube career, has been always doing this shit, which is funny because it's like, I always feel like it's not that good, but also it does get, like, it almost always gets more viewership than the surrounding content that people subscribe for, supposedly, and I'm always confused. I'm like, what's happening?
Because I'm here. It's why. Everybody's here to listen.
It's the kernel factor.
Yeah.
The kernel factor. But yeah, one of these days I would like to have local podcasts again, but everyone's scattered across the world and not near each other anymore, so that's a bummer.
You're both West Coast.
Also, don't watch any of our old content.
Yeah, don't watch any old content.
That guy's a jackass.
The content I'm in.
Who wants to watch video of a 21-year-old? Ew. Little young idiot.
Ew.
Now I'm 34 and flawless.
Oh, okay. Nice. I am not. I am still very full of flaws. Kind of overrunning with flaws. But
I think
the
biggest sign of growth for me, and not necessarily for you two, so I'll let you say if it is. But for me, what I'm trying to say is that it's not for everybody. But for me, my biggest sign of growth from when I started, which I was, I think, 28 or something, is knowing when to shut up, knowing when to be like, I don't have to have an opinion on this subject. I have a thing that comes to my mind if I want to make an opinion, but I shouldn't form an opinion without knowing more. That's the biggest growth.
Why?
Because that's the thing. That's what gets you to say nonsense stuff, like trying to weigh in on like, I remember I'll tell you one of my cringe takes that I have. I think it's still up. No, it isn't up. Okay, so I deleted that video. Actually, it was really cringe.
Okay,
but I can tell you what it is. So I had no idea. I had no notion of of the genocide of the indigenous people of the North America.
So, and so the Native Americans.
So, yeah. So, and I had no idea about. I just had no idea about American history. So I heard somebody say that everybody born in America is indigenous to North America, or to, you know what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And I was like, and to my completely ignorant ears, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I just blurted it out in one episode somewhere. Yeah. I just blurted it out. Having absolutely zero clue about anything, let alone how who actually said the thing that I heard. Actually, I have no idea who it was that I heard, but I just felt like saying everybody is indigenous. That's literally what I said. And so so for me, the sign of growing up is and looking back is the sort of capacity to stop myself from having an opinion, because it's not that we don't have opinions. Everybody has an opinion, right? An ignorant person who just hears that saying and it makes sense in their head, that's their opinion. If they want to formulate an opinion, that's going to be the result. But the wise person that doesn't know anything, but it just hears that and it makes sense in their head, the wise person is going to be like, I'm not going to have an opinion about this. I'm not going to formulate that opinion because I need to know more.
That's just really helpful across the world to just like shut up all the time. Like it was just a bit of a struggle when you're a YouTuber and whatnot, but like one of the most annoying mistakes you can make on social media and so on is like the choice of like weighing in on everything all the time, when it's like half the time that people weigh in on things on Twitter and things, it's like oh, I just heard about this right now and I'm weighing in on it by basically just echoing the opinion that was immediately in front of me, or having my gut reaction to the fragment of the information that was presented to me in this context, and that's it. And like that's it. Like it's like disastrous, because oftentimes you're like, oh, for all you know, like the first person you saw was like a contrarian that was like misrepresenting information to try to steer the conversation away from what was actually happening, or you might just like be running entirely off of your implicit biases of the type of person you are or your upbringing, and you don't understand what the fuck people are talking about, and something that's like slightly unintuitive to that sounds insane to you, and instead of learning about it, you just start riffing. It's why it's example for example, it's like why I don't like political streamers. Like I think that like there's a value that can be had in people reacting to the news and developments and conflicts and so on by actually like hunkering down and doing the research and carefully scripting out a thing and doing it all carefully. But people that are just riffing live, like they'll be so like prone to just like making shit up, or just kind of like having a gut reaction, or getting in arguments with their own chat and then having like a reflexive like contrarian streak to the way they're being talked to or something, and that colors their approach to the entire topic, and it's all like a big mess to just do it live. And so like I can be pretty quiet about a lot of topics in person, in part because people will just bring something up and it's the first time I'm hearing about it, so I'm like, well, now I don't want to say anything about it at all, because all I have is what this person just said to me, and that's my entire introduction to the topic, and I have no idea if they know what they're talking about. And so I was like, why would I weigh in, and so on.
Yeah, in person, I'm very, very reluctant to actually say anything unless the other person like hints that, like, I don't know. I had a conversation with a colleague from work, a really deep conversation about socioeconomics and racial tension in Europe and fascism and stuff. And this was with a coworker. But the reason why I got to that conversation was because they overheard me talk about ContraPoints about a video, and they, oh, you know ContraPoints? And then we started talking about H-Bomber guy, and he turns out he's based as hell, so he knows all way more than I do anyway. He knows a bunch of stuff, and I was just, we had a nice chat, and otherwise I would never have opened up. People will say their opinion, and I am the kind of person that will to try to end the conversation, I'll just agree with them, unless it's like a really egregious take that is just horrible, and and in that case I actually leave. But if it's something like, oh, people don't like Elon Musk because they don't like that he's famous or whatever, I'm like, yeah, and don't say anything. Because fuck, who the fuck cares? But if it, you know what I mean? Because it's so rare that random people will actually have anything interesting to say, that I don't want to get into a position where I will be construed as aggressive, because that's how people take it, though. That's what I'm trying. That's my perception anyway. If you try to argue against stuff that they willingly let out, and it's not even that if they are coming from a bad faith place or anything, it's just if people mention their pet peeves at you, because it feels like that's what it is a lot of the time, and you say, no, you're actually wrong, this is all down to capitalism, they're like, where the fuck is this guy coming from? What the hell? What gives you the right? And just feels like people just take it really, really personally. Or maybe I'm just a rude person. Maybe I'm a rude person.
No.
I don't know how to approach the subject.
My superpower is to cause people to never want to leave a conversation unless it's like too frustrating for them to endure.
That's not a superpower. That's the opposite of superpower. What do you mean?
Why would you assume a superpower has to be a positive thing? Like,
no. I guess
it's a power that is super. It's something that makes you different from someone else. It's like Magneto has a superpower, even though he's a bad guy. Like, or I guess he's a mutant, but whatever. Point being that he has whatever. Yeah. super doesn't have to be good. It can be a bad thing.
It just has to be powerful.
Yeah, it just has to be beyond what other people have the ability to do. It has to be super. Makes you super.
Beyond the capacity of a normal human can.
Yes, exactly. But no, a lot of people will share with you when they share something with you like that, they tend to be doing it in a way with the assumption that it is a well agreed upon thought, that it is a non-conflicting statement, something like saying, man, the sky is such a beautiful shade of blue today. If you turn out were like, buddy, the sky is orange, they would be infuriated with you. Like, they would be incensed with the idea that they have to argue that the sky is blue. It's for them, a point that should just not be argued. It's a very obvious, we've agreed upon point. So yeah, argue with those. Those are fun. People will fight tooth and nail for those points until they are frustrated or blue in the face. Those are like absolute free shots. You can dunk a lot of balls in on somebody on that one. But
I'll argue with the people that I am familiar with, and I'll try to nudge them towards. Even then, I have difficulty sort of being open because they're just not on the same.
Don't be aggressive. You just kind of make.
No, in the sense of,
it's like you do it like someone told you they haven't watched a movie before. You're like, oh, really? Huh? That's really interesting. I can't believe you think that way. Like, you make them. You always want to make them question themselves, make them feel hesitant about that opinion. Like, well, he's not like aggressive, so it must not be a bad opinion, but it's weird. Like, I guess it's a weird opinion. Like, you want to make people feel concerned about really firmly held beliefs that they have, because then they can't leave. Yeah.
I think that works if you have if you actually know the person and can engage on conversations multiple times. But
it's basically what psychics do for money.
What? No, it isn't. What they do is cold reading.
Yeah, you're picking up on something. You just pick up on something someone says and you run with it because it gives a reaction that you're looking for. So you see that someone might come in and be like, "Oh man, like it is hot outside," and you're like, "Oh, I see. Maybe it's like things aren't going too well for you, or maybe like you're stressed. You haven't drank enough water, which is why you feel so dehydrated." Like, I don't know. It's that kind of shit. You just
think
someone will say something to you.
Isn't necessarily the example that you're raising isn't necessarily on the same kind of level as my dentist trying to convince me that Tesla cars are actually really cool. That was surreal. I don't.
Is that surreal?
That was very surreal because it doesn't have a Tesla. So what the fuck?
You can. Well, I feel like it maybe in those instances, just kind of like shame them for that. The idea of like, oh, so you're like thinking about getting one. You're gonna get one soon, and then if he's like, oh no, I couldn't afford it. Oh, so you just like gawking at cars you can't afford. That's kind of weird. All right, fun choice.
That's confrontational. I would never.
That's not confrontational.
Not along.
There's no confrontation involved. I'm just interested, curious that you would choose to be interested in cars that you can't afford. It's a weird hobby. I don't know. I don't think about the food I can't afford to eat. I just eat food that I can afford to eat and enjoy it. I don't really think too much about the things I can't have. But that's.
I have
fine.
encountered like 2 Cybertrucks on the road now, and they were both like driving like huge assholes.
They are driving. Of course, they're. What do you mean?
Yeah,
of course they
are all awful.
Like it's just people. It's one of those things where it's like people self-select. It's like the equivalent of like. It's like why. The Elon Musk fandom is just the worst people in so many ways. But like I'm reminded of like how like, when the blue check marks were rolled out, like I had to install Blue Block or just mass block thousands of people because. Whenever anything came up, like the first 30 replies were all blue check marks, and they were all just incredibly homophobic, just consistently, just wildly bigoted people being bigoted the entire time, and that was all of their reactions and behaviors. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why? Like it's very clearly like it's an ideological self-selection of being a shitty person. So in that sort of way, it's like the people who would buy a Cybertruck are just going to be the most insufferable fucking people because they're doing it for reasons other than the product. Like they're trying to make a statement or a point, which is also
an ideological or a political point.
Yeah. And it's noteworthy because like that's also itself true about like most, like a lot of vehicles in general. Like a lot of them are like status symbols or a comment.
Yeah, of course.
It's why I'm so unopinionated about cars, because I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just need a car to work, and then that's the one car I have for years, so I can stop having opinions about cars forever now until the next car, fucking 15 years from now or something.
It's like a TV. It's like, why would you have an opinion about a TV, dude? Like its only purpose is so you can watch the thing. You're not trying to get the maximum value out of a TV. I don't know. Just
Toaster has entered this channel.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? TFTs are so good.
He's gonna get you.
That's a monitor. A monitor has value. It has to match certain functions that you're expecting on a computer. A monitor does have like functional.
Actually, you got Toaster there.
A TV's just whatever. You're not gonna, the TV is never gonna be as good as the movie screen you watch movies on. So from there on, it's just what you want Netflix to look good. All right, get it in 4K, I guess. Get it in the right format, whatever. But I don't know. It's like someone arguing to you need like good gas mileage or whatever. It's like, oh, look, man, I just want the car to move.
There's just there's no like functionality or market, like there's no like place in the market for the Cybertruck. There's no like reason for that product to exist or a reason why you would naturally select it out of all the options. So like it is literally just you were pushed here to make a particular statement by getting this vehicle, and that's inherently like saying enough things about you that you're like, oh. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the beauty of it. I see a lot more Teslas than I do Cybertrucks for sure, though. And I'm obviously some of that is because they're still in production.
They've been around for a decade, right?
No, the Cybertrucks have only been around for about...
No, the Teslas, I'm saying. I'm saying, of course, you've seen more Teslas than Cybertrucks. They've been around forever at this point.
I'm saying that, like, lately, as time goes by, I start to see a lot more Teslas. Like, it is becoming a lot more...
I rode in one of my first Teslas when I was at FWA. Our Uber driver had a Tesla. It had the big dorky screen on the dash and everything.
It's very
wild. All Teslas.
He had to explain to everyone how to open the doors, both from the inside and outside, because they both don't work normal. Like you have to fucking
very handy.
They have flush handles, so you have to press like a part of the handle to make the rest of the handle stick out, and then grab that part, and then it feels like it's pointing at a wrong angle, so it feels like you're breaking it or holding it wrong when you open the doors. And then on the inside, you have to double tap the open door button to open the door. It's very strange. It sounds very annoying to be doing it as like a service thing, like as a ride share. Like it sounds very annoying to have to like interact with people all day that don't know how to use your vehicle the entire time because you have to keep telling everyone how to open the doors.
It genuinely sounds like a unique type of hell.
Very strange.
Why?
There's a lot of cars that are going that direction, though. Especially electric cars. Yeah, it's just
great. Awesome.
Yeah, it makes the line sleeker and it makes aerodynamics a little bit better.
Why is it legal for the Tesla to have a giant screen on its dash, but when I was working at Best Buy, they like outlawed like dash holsters DVDs. For phones.
Oh.
I think aren't those still legal in California?
No, you can do the I have
Can you get them now?
You can do a phone holster. Yeah.
They at least were illegal. Like for a while there, it was illegal for you to have like a stand, essentially. Like
that's wild.
Yeah, your phone couldn't be visible while you were driving. Like it needed to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
What? You had to use a GPS unit to use GPS? Yeah. You couldn't use your phone?
Yeah, this is
so stupid.
Yeah, because I've always been doing GPS on my phone, but I have to put my phone like awkwardly just propped somewhere in the car because they made the actual thing that holds it illegal, and it's like, well, I'm still gonna need the GPS, you fucks. So, this is obviously less safe than it just being on my dash where I can see it clearly. What?
Yep.
You didn't outlaw GPS. But it's news to me really if that ever became legal again. That's the annoying thing about living in world is that, like, how do you even know on the fly what's legal or not until you just get stopped half the time?
Well,
because there's so many fucking laws and they just
like
change and they change state to state.
Not only do they change state to state, but the people that are enforcing them also don't keep track of if they have changed or not.
Yeah, so you can get stopped for laws that aren't illegal anymore, and you can also like just not be enforced on something for years, not know it's illegal the whole time. Everything's dumb.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
We have a dumb system.
Everything's dumb, and all cops are bastards.
Yep.
Yep.
And
don't know their dads.
I don't know their dads. None of them. Not a single one.
Somebody find the cops, all these dads. That's what bastard means.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's like a somewhat strange term to use in the acronym, given that it doesn't necessarily mean what they're implying it means to begin with.
No, yeah, it doesn't mean that.
So I just thought that was funny.
I mean, maybe they're just saying you have to be fatherless to have that kind of behavior, which doesn't sound better, but that might be the intent.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't.
I think there's maybe an inherent conflict in the idea of using fatherlessness as an insult against cops when that is the thing that is used as an insult against most of the people that cops are known to be over enforcing against and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that's that's like directly makers? Like a thing that is said against against black people and against gay people all the time. As for
they don't have father figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have a very good father figure, and I didn't turn out gay or black, so I don't think that's a valid metric. So you can't use that anymore. Checkmate, atheist.
That's, I mean, scientifically proven right there.
That sentence happened. That sentence was an assault.
Pre-cancelled. Pre-cancelled.
God damn it. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch Citizen Kane now. I'll see you guys later.
Citizen Kane, that's been out for years.
They're airing it at the local theater, and I've never seen it, so I'm gonna go watch Citizen Kane. Have you watched Citizen Kane? You haven't watched Star Wars, so I don't know if you watched Citizen Kane.
Of course I haven't.
Yeah, what the fuck are you saying that like that at me then? You haven't seen Citizen Kane. Have you seen Citizen Kane, Andrew?
Confidence. No, I have not. I have not.
See, fucking styling on you.
I look. I didn't say. I'm
gonna be a Kane head, but I don't know if that sounds like it might be a bad term. Wait,
what is that?
I was trying to invent a fandom term, but it sounds a little like it might be already a bad word somehow. So I'm scared.
I was gonna say it sounds like that might exist.
I don't know. Anyway.
Good luck with that. Good luck with the movie. Good luck with being whatever that was you just said you were. And good luck everybody else playing video games in the modern day. That's
if it means anything I didn't know, you can't get mad at me.
Cancel him now. Goodbye.
I explained the joke. Shut up. Bye.
Bye.